I was wrong about Star Citizen. I remember around 2012 when Star Citizen was announced, and I also remember reading about it in a Game Informer magazine around that same time. And while the ambitions were pretty high, the idea was pretty concrete. Chris Roberts wanted to revive the space simulator genre. He wanted to build off of the foundation set by the Wing Commander series, Free Space, and Elite Frontier. And to be honest, until development started rolling, I really wasn't that skeptical. I watched the development from the distance, really tapping in from 2015 to 2017, and for years I called Star Citizen a scam, a buggy, overhyped tech demo that was going nowhere fast. I saw the headlines about the ballooning budget, which has now crossed a staggering $1 billion, and the perpetually shifting release dates. One thing seemed pretty clear: they kept moving the goalposts, and they were getting buried by their own feature creep. I'd constantly see people defending it, and all I would think to myself is, they're just too deep into the sunken cost fallacy. Around 2018, 2019, I tried one of the free fly events. I spawned in a city, got completely lost trying to find the spaceport, I fell through an elevator, and promptly uninstalled. It was, in my mind, the poster child for development hell. A beautiful and overly ambitious mess that would never ever deliver on its promise. And to be honest, my opinion was pretty valid and justified at the time. But today, it's pretty much one of the main games in my library. So, what happened? How did I completely 180 on my opinion of Star Citizen? My initial skepticism wasn't exactly unfounded. When a project has been in development for over a decade, initially targeting a release of around 2014, a project that has raised more money than a small fucking nation, I think most of the players have earned the right to be at least a little bit cynical. Pretty much every year it felt like there was some new controversy around the game. Missing deadlines for CIG was just kind of business as usual. They'd show off new flashy features at CitizenCon, and that would be quietly pushed back, sometimes for years. The community would get all hyped up for a major technological leap like the famous server meshing, only for it to be delayed again and again and again. Though, to be fair, some foundational tech has slowly started to roll out, and that's kind of the MO of Star Citizen. They overpromise and underdeliver, and when it does finally release, it sometimes works, and when it works, it's pretty awesome. It didn't help that the rest of the gaming community was pretty put off by the price of entry. And don't get me wrong, there are affordable packages on the Pledge Store. But the Pledge Store is infamous for selling virtual ships for hundreds or thousands of real-world dollars. And for normal people, someone seeing a headline where someone bought a in-concept JPEG of a ship for $4,000, it makes the community seem kind of insane. It also doesn't help that it puts a lot of focus on funding the game rather than the game itself. It honestly really doesn't help that it really is a buggy mess sometimes. I picked up the game multiple times throughout a handful of years, and every single time, it was so buggy that I couldn't even play the game. For years, I kept Star Citizen at arm's length, really only paying attention when a new controversy bubbled up or big new features dropped. This all changed around 6 months ago. I picked up the game again, I went to the hangar, my ship spawned in, I rode the elevator and didn't die, I got in my ship, and I started doing contracts. And holy shit, that was leaps and bounds a better experience than the last 3 or 4 times I tried to play the fucking game. It's still a buggy alpha, don't get me wrong, but you have to respect the fact that they finally have systems somewhat working and working together in a way that feels like gameplay loops. And when it works, it fucking rocks. The first wow moment you really come across is when you finally leave your hangar and leave one of the home cities. You're greeted with these sprawling cyberpunk metropolises, and while other than landing in the main area, there isn't much to do, they are heavily detailed and they look gorgeous. And upon leaving the hangar, everything is seamless. I mean, you take a trip up through the clouds, leave the atmosphere, the city gets smaller and smaller behind you. Now, due to the fact that they've spent so much fucking time developing this game, or tech demo, or whatever you want to call it, Star Citizen is no longer the only title that features this seamless integration between spaceflight and planetary landing. But everything it does that other games also feature it does with a significantly higher fidelity. And that's really my turning point with Star Citizen. Everything it does better than other games. It's just super fucking inconsistent. I mean, the game features the best flight model out of the space sim market. And when the ground combat works and you're not dealing with desync or a bunch of weird bugs, it beats the dog shit out of Elite Dangerous's Odyssey expansion. I mean, let's be real, Odyssey kind of fucking sucks. But as Star Citizen continues to be developed and will continue to be developed until 2056, all of the systems that they start bringing together and make more cohesive really makes it feel more like a game with loops of progression instead of just a glorified tech demo with badass graphics and a sick flight model. The fact that my friend can go mining for a couple hours, send all of his ores to the refinery, meet me at the station, bring the ores up via the cargo elevator, and then I can load them into my Taurus and find the best place to sell them on the market, and then we split the profits, is pretty cool gameplay given the fact that it's not contract bound. It's purely open gameplay that we've created our own loop with, and it just works. There's nothing scripted. The game's not telling us to do this. We're just trying to make a little bit more money so we can buy cooler shit. And that's the most important thing I was wrong about with Star Citizen. I thought it was a game about buying ships. It's not. It's a game about creating your own adventure. There are mission loops, sure, bounty hunting, mining, cargo hauling, salvage, etc., but the real magic happens in the few moments between. Responding to a distress beacon and finding another player who's run out of fuel and giving them some of yours, exploring a cave on a remote moon and discovering a rare mineral deposit, sneaking onto someone's open ship just to tractor beam all of their cargo out of it and take it for yourself. The game is a sandbox of systems that really allows for a level of immersion that I have rarely seen in this space. But beyond these rose-tinted goggles, let me be crystal clear, Star Citizen is still a deeply flawed alpha, even with 4.8. It's a big pile of shit right now. You might want to wait to purchase this bitch if you haven't already. But bugs are a constant reality. You'll still fall through the world, missions will break, and server crashes can wipe out an entire evening's progress. The performance can be rough at times, especially on places like Area 18, and many of the promised features are still a long way off, but the game is absolutely not finished, and anyone who tells you otherwise is being a little dishonest. The development remains slow, and there are still valid criticisms about the project's management and priorities. But let's be real for a second. The development cycle has always been like this. They've always introduced features, pushed them off to a far off date, added more shit in between that's easier for them to develop in the meantime, and they rarely deliver on their actual targets, but shit does usually come out eventually. But for me, the magic outweighs the frustration. The moments of awe and unscripted adventures are kind of worth the occasional bug-induced headache. It's a game that respects my intelligence, rewards my patience, and it doesn't hold my hand. It gives me a ship, a universe, and the freedom to find my own way. And if you know me, I love me a good sandbox. And I've had a pretty long journey for the last 7 or 8 years, going from skeptic to a believer. And it was kind of a 180-degree turn that I never saw coming. Now I'm curious to hear from you. Are you a longtime backer who has kept the faith? Are you a fellow skeptic who recently changed their mind? Or do you still think it's all just a pipe dream? Let me know your story in the comments below. Star Citizen is not for everyone. If you're looking for a polished, bug-free, finished game, this isn't it. Not yet, anyway. But if you're looking for an experience that is ambitious beyond measure, visually stunning, and capable of generating stories you will be telling for years, then it might be time to give it another look. Especially for the eventual release of the single-player Squadron 42. The feature feels a little exciting, and I was wrong to dismiss it as just a tech demo. It's a universe in the making, and for all of its flaws, it's one of the most compelling places in gaming right now, and I, for one, am here for the long haul.